Serious? Sure. Pretty white. Yeah. Go.
We are calling the meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We are going to recognize our Students of the Month. We have, do you want to do it? We have Sierra Richmond from PES, nominated by Jasmine Baum and Lexi Rose. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Lane. You can go with Mr. Lane. We are missing lights. Next, we have Colton Bales from South Whitley, nominated by Sarah Bechtold, Taylor Ford, and Sydney Overmeyer.
Colton Bales. Colton is a kindergartner from Mrs. Sue's classroom. Colton is a great role model for his classmates in related arts. He is always following direction. He is respectful, responsible, and kind to others. Great job, Colton. Up the great. Colton was nominated by our related arts teachers, Whitko, Mrs. Ford, and Ms. Overmeyer. Congratulations.
Next, we have Kennedy Sloan. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was pulling up an email. I wanted to talk about Miss Richmond because she does a fabulous job at Pierceton Elementary. She is a role model for her classmates. She is always working hard in school and is kind to all others. Is always willing to help others and encourage them to make great choices. So, thank you.
Next, we have Kennedy Sloan from WCA, nominated by Derek Sword.
Kennedy, congratulations. Derek Sword nominated Kennedy. This month, they began a community outreach project, second year engineering. The opportunity was presented. Kennedy immediately hit the ground running, researching and developing a list of possible community partnerships. Kennedy found a problem that exists in many locations, senior living facilities. apparatus to help. And working with these facilities, they came up with a great solution. He has since formed a group of fellow classmates, senior living facilities, 3D printed prototypes that could be used in assisted rehabilitation devices. I could not be more proud of hard work, progress.
Next, we have Brandon Campbell, Wjhs, nominated by J.D. Maurer.
I'd like to apologize. He works at the school late, and then he teaches driver's education, so he sent me a note. Brandon is exceptional at doing the little things well. Brandon is timely, respectful to teachers and classmates, and always has a positive attitude. Personally, I enjoy his humor in class, as Brandon likes to have fun, but does it in a way that everyone else enjoys, which is so hard to do these days. Keep up the great work, Brandon. I'm proud of you. I think we all are, so congratulations.
We have J.C. Thomas from WSHS, nominated by John Strayer.
I've known JC for the last 3 years. During this time, she showed me nothing but respect and honesty. Every teacher has those students that possess those qualities. JC has these qualities, which makes her a great person and student. JC is a true leader. She has a way of bringing out the best of people, the best person before she gets to know them. She has a sense of humor and knows how to listen. She is very positive and a happy person. Others seem to be drawn to her because of these attributes. JC is very intelligent and picks things up easily. However, when JC doesn't fully understand a concept, she'll work hard until she has total comprehension. She just has an amazing work ethic. She likes to take on challenges and doesn't stop until she completes them. When given a task, I know JC will get it done and done well. I know I can ask you to do something that's very important to me, and it'll get accomplished. My teacher assistant for like these last 2 years. She also has a big heart and is always willing to help anyone. Any activity, hardworking ability, and positivity allows her to do well in all of them. In conclusion, JC is one of the hardest working, caring, trustworthy, positive people I know. She is truly a model student. She is the type of student which I hope keeps in touch with me throughout her career after high school. And I know she'll be successful in all she does and be a great asset to our society.
Thank you. Thanks to all of our great students. I want to recognize the media. We have Linda Chincher here from the Post and Mail. And next we have a special presentation. Oh, there's not one? Okay, we're done. Is there a special presentation? Item 2.3. No? Okay. We'll move on to 3.0, approval of minutes then. Georgia, did you have something?
I think the special presentation is
If we have
student of
people
the
who want
month.
to exit, now is the time for that. Thank you for being here. We will move on with 3.0, approval of minutes. The following minutes are presented for board approval. We have the regular school board meeting and project hearing minutes from October 11th, 2021. We have a work session from Wednesday, October 27th, 2021. Executive session, Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. public hearing for the tentative CBA of 2021 to 2023. That was on November 8th, 2021. Do I have a motion for approval of the minutes presented?
I move we approve the minutes as presented to the board for approval.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from item 3.1. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes as presented in 3.1 signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 4.0 reports from our principals and directors. Pearson Elementary School, Shannon Lane.
All right, for teaching and learning updates, our teachers continue to utilize the Engage New York curriculum resource, and they're doing that at a more full level and are seeing some gains because they're implementing procedures and routines that make learning more meaningful for our students. We are continuing to analyze student data, and our teachers have made strategic support plans for individual students within their classrooms on how they're going to help those students succeed. This year, or this month, we have November's school counseling word of the month is thankfulness. So teachers and students are engaging in talking about what they're thankful for and all the things that they have to be thankful for. ILT, or Instructional Leadership Team, we are in the midst of our first observation cycle, and we are nearing completion. That will be complete on November 19th. And our teachers are getting timely feedback on what they're doing well as next steps. We are excited that our tech team is back. We have 14 eager 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students who are going out into the building and supporting technology. That includes updates, power washing, which is a kind of like a reset programming, as well as teaching students and teachers on how to best utilize technology in their classroom. So it's been really awesome, and those kids are super excited, and they go to the kindergarten class and help them, and they go to all the way through the 6th grade class to help them, because we all need a little help when it comes to technology. Our boys basketball team has started their games, and they're working hard, and they are eager and excited to play. I love seeing them in the gym, and they are just bouncing away and ready to go. We also completed at Pearson, we completed a Veterans Day video that we shared on our social media platform. And we also had lots of students that wrote letters, illustrated pictures, or colored notes to be given to our veterans in our community. The last thing that I have, and is not in my board minutes, but I definitely want to take time to recognize, and she already stepped out so I can gush on her a little bit more, was Deb Thomas. She finally retired on November 1st. That was her final day, but she has been such an asset to our school. She was always there, had a smile on her face, and made teachers and students feel welcome and encouraged them in every way that she possibly could. She meant the world to a lot of students and a lot of staff members, and I just want to say thank you for all the years of service. I think it was 40 plus. Don't quote me on the number, though. Thank you.
Next, we have Southland Elementary's Brian Emmert.
Good evening, everyone. Like Mr. Lane said, our 6th grade boys basketball team have started their season. Their next game is going to be this Wednesday at Cherubusco. That starts at 5 p.m. And I want to say our first game was held at South Whitley, and this team is exciting to watch. I'm hoping for great things for all these boys. So hopefully you can come to one of our games. Just wanted to give a little plug. Last Thursday, November 11th, on Veterans Day, our entire school and staff held a Veterans Day parade. Everyone began at school and walked to the AmVet in town. While there, I wanted to thank Mrs. Evans and Mr. Van Patten. The high school band played the national anthem, and then the school presented a wreath to honor all the veterans in the town, and that was placed at the flagpole. We held a moment of silence, and then one of the junior, senior high students played tap. Students sang "You're a Grand Old Flag," and if you've ever heard 268
some kids sing "You're a Grand Old Flag." It's pretty moving. We then proceeded towards Subway and came back to school on Mulberry Street. I do want to say we had a large crowd down there, and we also had Channel 15 News there, and they covered it and aired it at noon and in the evening. I wanted to thank our Sunshine Committee for helping with this, and especially Mrs. Booz and Mrs. Sprunger for organizing, and Sydney Overmeyer, our new art teacher, for helping make the branches service banners. And I know we had quite a number of people here from Whitko who were veterans who were part of our parade and got to walk with the kids, and it was just a neat thing. Lastly, each year South Whitley does a food drive, and we're going to start that right after Thanksgiving. And we hope to wrap this up before the holiday break and deliver that to our local food bank. So, thank you.
Whitko Junior Senior High School, Amy Evans. And Whitko Career Academy, Joe Luce.
For student engagement, our 9th grade take ESAT on to all juniors and those seniors who don't quite have a pathway yet will also take the ASVAB. We just announced that we will do e-learning for 10th and 12th graders not taking those tests. We will still have the middle school students present that day. So that should help our staff be able to do the small group testing and provide, the accommodations that we need. I guess one thing that I would like to focus on is the good news, because I first would like to thank the South Whitley Elementary School. As a veteran myself, it was just amazing to see the community support, the students. It was one of the cutest things I've ever seen, but also it was really meaningful, so thank you for that. Mr. Eberly, our new math teacher, has settled in, and I'm hearing just great compliments about him. He really cares about our students, and he's coming to our cluster time. He just has that hunger to learn, and I think we're really lucky to have him in that position, not just to fill it, but actually to make a difference in the kids' education. Other good news, the North American International Livestock Expedition has been going on the last few weeks. Our kids have done amazing. I've had an opportunity to log on to the live feeds and watch some of our kids show, and I know they've been very successful and also very tired when they come back to school, so I know they're working hard. So congratulations to them. Our FFA, they had their national convention earlier, and we had several students that did very well at that. So some good news. And I just think as the principal here, it's not on here, but I'm just seeing the ability to start making progress on those changes that we need to make and continue to make things better at Whitko. So yeah, I'm pleased to be here. And again, I thank the community for your support.
Thank you. Amy and I continue to try to work together on all of our projects and communication with students. The one thing that's been really good in the past, I think, 3 weeks is our communication on discipline. We've been able to use Power School a little more effectively, stay in touch with each other to recognize students that are having a rough time, maybe per school, that we can work with at the academy or vice versa. And I just appreciate that collaboration. Hopefully that'll continue to strengthen the overall discipline and the culture of our school corporation in general. As I read earlier, I wanted to just highlight again Kennedy. Her project, the kind of meaningful projects that all of our programs are doing at the Career Academy. Not only are they learning in class, but they're reaching out and they're partnering with businesses, with other organizations to have real world experiences. This is above and beyond, but this is just the tip of the things that we're doing with our students. And that's hats off to our teachers that have recognized much more than just that book in front of them, but making sure that they're making those connections. And it is exciting. One of the projects you've watched Facebook we have going on is we have wooden Christmas trees. Our college and career kids work with our construction kids, also work with our business class to put those together, market them, and exciting to see how that project finishes up, get into the holiday season. And then finally, Pierceton Town Council had some Christmas trees they hadn't been able to use for a while that were metal. Needed to get a base on them so they could put them in the ground and they could start reusing them again. Brought them to Mr. Oaken, our welding student, and they did a fantastic job of putting those back together, putting a solid base on there, and they're going to be able to be used in the display in Pearson coming up. Thank you, and anytime I'd love to visit and encourage you to come and see, what we're doing. Lots of great things, and in the board report, our teachers take time to fill those out. I know everybody reads them, but they're excited to share with things that are going on in their class.
Thank you. Next, we have Director of Alternative Programs, Chris Benedict.
Evening. Little update again on our progress of our students in the alternative school and also the Apex program. To this date, as of right now, we have 16 credits that have been earned in the alternative school, as well as 12 credits earned outside of the alternative school. Just kids in Apex have already finished up their course for this first semester. So a lot of them are still working extremely hard. They've got about 4.5 weeks to still wrap up in that first semester some additional credits. Got about 36 different courses that are going on and multiple kids taking multiple classes through that Apex program. I want to touch a little bit about the process of getting into the alternative program. We had 3 new students that's entered here in the last about 2.5 weeks, and the process is either a teacher, a counselor, or an administrator can recommend someone for the alternative program that they've seen that's not maybe doing well in the traditional school setting. We've accepted 3 students in, like I said, about the last 2.5 weeks. Those kids are now online, ready to go with their Apex, having a better environment for them and to be more successful for them. So excited about the opportunity for that process to continue to work and continue to identify those students that maybe need a different setting to be successful, and trying to be creative in any way we can to make them be able to earn credits towards their graduation requirements. Last thing, our 30A report, our Cte report, has been submitted to the interns website and forwarded on to the IDOE, which is all of our Cte courses that we get funding for. That has been done for this school year. I want to thank Sandy Benedict, Mr. Luce, and Pam Baker for all their collaboration and efforts to get that report done. It's very tedious, about 2,160 rows with about 65 columns that have to be entered into that report that gets submitted to the state. So it is tedious, it is time consuming, and appreciate all their efforts to get that done. Thank you.
Director of Special Services, Allison Kellogg.
Good evening. Grant season is starting to wind down, but there are still some that are popping up. And so I just completed the NESP grant, which is to service our English learners, making sure that they have supplies and everything they need to do well and to receive the accommodations that they're supposed to be receiving in school. As well as I'm still completing the American Rescue Plan grant that opened up November 1st, and I'm just making sure that's specifically for funds going towards special education. So supplies, training, staff, anything that would service our special education department, that's where those funds are going to go towards. Okay, so making sure that they have a safe and calm environment, maximum learning. It's kind of amazing because this I added a trauma-based learning to their curriculum, and so I jumped at the chance to use that. Because what I love about Whitko is that we put such an emphasis on social and emotional learning, and as well as being trauma informed. So our staff responded really well. We had amazing discussions during the training on how we can be more trauma responsive to our students. and how we can best respond to them when they're dysregulated by triggers, and how we can be more communicative and be more receptive to their needs. And so it was just an amazing time to have that discussion with our staff, as well as a really good learning environment for that training. For staffing and employment, as usual, staffing at Whitko, especially in the special education department, has been a challenge. We've had more positions open, as well as the positions that we've already had since the beginning of the year, and it's been very difficult to find qualified candidates that would best serve our students and best serve our other staff to fill those positions. So I remain in frequent contact with local colleges, hoping to reach out to graduates that are going to graduate in December, maybe putting the Whitko name out there and attracting them to us, as well as I've been doing college visits. I had one last Thursday, so unfortunately I had to miss the amazing parade, but I had some really good conversation with some college students on maybe possibly joining Whitko, even at a part-time basis with our instructional aid positions, so that way when they do graduate, they're already incorporated into a school environment, and so they already have that leg up whenever they graduate with their educational degrees. As well as I've also joined several hiring websites. There's one called Handshake, and that's specifically for college campuses where college students can reach out, and other hiring websites, just hopefully trying to use all of our resources to fill these positions. However, when I submitted my report to the board, I also included a couple of articles to hopefully explain the situation, because it feels like it's just it feels like I'm repeating the same thing every single board meeting, but this is a national problem. There are several articles out there about how we are in a hiring crisis. Some of you guys may have seen articles where in September alone, 4.4 million people resigned their jobs. So this is not something that is unique to Whitko. It is a hiring crisis right now. And so there's schools around the nation that are closing their doors, at least temporarily, until they can find people to serve their students. There have been schools around the nation that are calling on the National Guard to fill positions in their schools, because it's such a dire need. And so I'm working diligently, because I want Whitko to be the very best that we can be, so we have really good people, because we already have really good people here, and I want to keep that going. I've also included with the board, I reached out to Senator Mike Braun. They've received funds, and they're trying to determine what to do with that money. And so I requested that they use that money to go towards advocating for better staffing for schools. And so I included his response to that for the board. And so that's going to help, hopefully that's going to help especially the special education department offer better competitive wages and benefits to maybe attract good employees. But in the meantime, and I'll always finish with this, because I continually to be astounded by our staff. We have wonderful staff that truly, truly care about our students, and they go above and beyond. The special education staff, every single one, from instructional aides to teachers to administrative assistants, every single one of them just continue to work so hard for our students. And I cannot tell every single one of them how thankful enough that I am. However, I do not want to take advantage of their love for our students, and I want to make sure that I can do everything I can to fill those open positions.
That our new teachers contract will also help to attract and keep teachers that we have. Jason, are you okay? Next, we have Athletic Department, John Irwin.
Good evening. I'm just going to finish up with the fall sports, so to speak. We have, as the season's ended, the coaches have meetings and they vote for all conference and stuff. So for volleyball, all conference, Audra Brandenburg was first team, and Reese Bradford was honorable mention. For football, we had Tyler Veach, Devin Olshafer, and Austin Krebs, first team. And then we had Dean Boggs and Ethan Gilbert, honorable mention. The second part that I'd like to talk about is our academic all-conference members. They're basically in two categories. The first is the academic first team, I guess, and that's the top 15% of your class with a 3.8 GPA, and they received medals. We had 14 in that: Cody Atkins, Austin Krebs, Laura Jackson, Kylie Fugit, Nadia Rhodes, Abby Frank, Morgan Dick, Brooke Schrader, Guinevere Gar, Chloe Hathaway, Jillian Starkweather, Jackson Hollandball, David Ousley, and Blake Schrader. Then the honorable mention with the category was top 30% with a 3.4 GPA. We had 6: Slater Craig, Isaiah Kiles, Dalton Ousley, Reese Bradford, Gracie Sands, and Braden Wolf.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Congratulations to those students. Transportation and maintenance, Jim Bumbaugh.
Completed the installation of the new control system, senior high school career academy. Conducted a training for the lead custodians and maintenance Fort Wayne facility. This new system will allow remote access to help expedite and troubleshooting the building systems, and should help regulate the temperatures more uniform fashion throughout the buildings. We've hired a new head mechanic at the bus shop. Dustin Sheets comes to us from Felking International in Fort Wayne, where he is a road service diesel mechanic. He has experience working with school buses. I think Whitko is very fortunate to have acquired him. I think he's going to be a great asset to the Whitko transportation. Thanks again to Mike Sands for helping out, turning wrenches in the shop while we tried to fill this important position.
Thank you. Next, we have our superintendent's update.
Enrollment's 1,274. Video out there. I'm starting the coffee with. Thursday on December. And then from 4 to 6, I'll invite the community to come in and meet with me to discuss any concerns or issue they have, kind of get to know me, and give me a chance to get to know all of you guys a little bit. We have coffee, we'll have hot chocolate there, and we'll have some cookies. So we hope it's an informative time for everyone. On December 8th, I'll be at South Whitley Elementary School. Then on December 15th, I'll be at the senior high school. All three of those, I'll be in the cafeteria from 3 to 4 for students and staff, and from 4 to 6 for the community. That'll take us into Christmas break. And then after that, I'll be putting the schedule out for a rotating Wednesdays to continue that moving forward. So I look forward to having meet and greets with all of you and share any concerns you have or any information you have or any ideas you have for Whitko as a team. Thank you.
Next, we have our public comments on agenda items. Please remember that we have a 3-minute duration, and we are to make sure that public comments are not frivolous, repetitive, or harassing, interrupt, warn, or terminate a person's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. We have Shannon Deneve.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Deneve. My fifth grader was sent home November 11, 2021 due to a close contact with a student. And with the school central office per Mr. Pavardik, I was informed that Whitko Community Schools follows Governor Holcomb's Executive Order 21-24, which expires September 30th, 2021. The current executive order is 21-29, which went into effect November 1st, 2021, and continues to December 1st, 2021 in the Indiana Department of Health. There are 3 options under Executive Order 21-29, Section 5, and these are the following. A 14-day after the date of the last exposure. B, 10 days after the date of last exposure, following additional precautions for days 11 to 14, or C, 7 days after the date of last exposure with a negative PCR test occurring on day 5 or later following additional precautions for days 8 to 14. With the understanding Whitko Community Schools is following the current Executive Order 21-29, and the options is that come with it, we had our son Colton tested on Saturday, day 5, which was November 13th, 2021, which is the third option in the state order, with the outcome of the test being negative. Our question tonight is if Whitko Community Schools are following Governor Holcomb's executive order that is most current, then why is our son not allowed to come back to school wearing a mask days 8 through 14 to maximize his learning potential if the school system is following Governor Holcomb's executive order and the IDOH guidelines? Each board member, along with Mr. Pavlik, should have received an email from me today that enclosed all the information to substantiate this matter. I'm going to request the answer to my question with an explanation. Thank you for your attention and listening to my family's matter.
Thank you. I think that will be addressed later.
Yes.
Okay. We are moving on to 6.0 business reports and consent agenda items. This would be for items 6.1 through 6.4.
I would recommend the board adopt the consent items as required by the Indiana Department of Education.
Do I have a motion for consent agenda items?
I make a motion we accept the consent agenda as recommended.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda items as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of accepting the consent agenda items, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 7.1, NIET evaluations paid with ESSER 3 funds. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the NIET evaluations that are paid with the ESSER 3 funds.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the NIET evaluations paid with ESSER 3 funds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of accepting the NIET evaluations with ESSER 3 funds signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 7.2, Teacher Appreciation Grant, which is received from the state and paid in December. This is distributed to our certified teaching staff according to our policy and state law. This has been done before. Do I have a motion? Thank you. Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded that we accept the Teacher Appreciation Grant to be paid in December. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the Teacher Appreciation Grant signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 7.3, Non-Certified Handbook. Do I have a motion?
I move we accept the non-certified handbook.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the non-certified handbook. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the non-certified handbook signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 7.4, non-certified wage steps and wage scales. Do I have a motion?
I move that we accept the wage steps and wage scales as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the non-certified wage steps and wage scales. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the non-certified wage steps and wage scales signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 7.5, non-certified appreciation bonus based on full or part-time status will be paid in December. Do I have a motion?
I move that we pay the non-certified and administration appreciation bonuses as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the non-certified appreciation bonus. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the non-certified appreciation bonus signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 7.6. We have several field trips planned. Do I have a motion for all of the field trips presented?
I move we okay the field trips.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the field trips. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the field trips as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 7.7, making April 29th, 2022 a teacher in-service day to correct our 2021-22 calendar. Teacher contracts offer 184 days. Do I have a motion?
I move that we make the correction and add April 29th, 2022 as a teacher in-service day.
Do I have a second? It's been motioned and seconded that we make April 29, 2022 a teacher in-service day. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of making April 29, 2022 a teacher in-service day signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. 7.8, Little Cats Early Learning Center director pay for summer setup. Were 49 consulting days at $255 per day for a total of $12,495. Funding will come from several grants. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we pay the director for her summer setup of 49 consulting days at $255 per day for a total of $12,495 with that funding all coming.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the Little Cats Learning Center director pay for the summer of this past summer for $12,495. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the Little Cats Early Learning Center director pay of $12,495, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 7.9, graduation date for the class of 2022 will be Friday, June 30th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. WJSHS administration has requested the graduation date of June 3 to be added to our 2021-22 school calendar. Do I have a motion?
I move we set the graduation date, class of 2022, Friday, January 3rd.
June 3rd. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, June 3rd.
That's okay. It's been moved and seconded that we set our graduation date for the class of 2022 for June 3rd at 6:30. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Moving on to old business 8.1. We have an adoption of our general obligation, additional appropriation resolution. The board will now consider an additional appropriation resolution not to exceed $3,540,000 for the purpose of procuring funds to be applied on the cost of the renovation and improvement to Whitko Junior Senior High School. This hearing for additional appropriations was given notice in the November 3, 2021 issues of the Tribune News and the Times-Union. The board finds no sufficient provision has been made in the existing budget and an additional appropriation need exists. The board will now receive public comments on the additional appropriations. If there are no public comments, we will move on to a motion. Do I have a motion to approve the appropriation resolution?
I move that we approve the additional appropriation resolution.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved, or a motion has been made and been seconded that we approve the additional appropriation resolution for 8.1. Is there any discussion? We will move to a vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve the additional appropriation resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 8.2, the board finds there are not sufficient funds available to pay for the total cost of the renovation and improvements to Whitko Junior Senior High School. That the school corporation should issue bonds not to exceed $3,540,000. Furthermore, the overall tax rate for the school corporation for the calendar year 2021 is $1.0784, and it is the intent of this board to maintain but not exceed an overall tax rate of 1.0784 in calendar year 2022. This resolution also approves the form of the master continuing disclosure undertaking and the registrar and paying agent agreement. The Securities and Exchange Commission requires that a school corporation enter into a continuing disclosure undertaking before it issues bonds. Do I have a motion regarding the final board resolution?
I make a motion that we regard the final bond resolution, that we accept it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved that we accept the motion regarding the final bond resolution and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 8.3, resolution approving amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures. This resolution indicates the board accepts and ratifies the amended procedures and directs these procedures be incorporated into the procedures manuals of the school corporation. This resolution appoints the business manager to serve as the compliance officer, and the compliance officer will review any disclosure documents in connection with the issuance of the bonds. Do I have a motion regarding the resolution approving amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures?
I make a motion that we approve the amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures as presented.
Do I have a second? It's been moved and seconded that we approve the amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the amended and restated post-issuance compliance procedures signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Moving on to 9.0, miscellaneous administrative items. Superintendent Pavarnik.
Sure. I want to thank those that came forward and emailed me about the COVID procedures. I know that they can be the most non-popular thing going. Our COVID policy, when we started out at Whitko and the board approved, was that we were going to be a school system that was going to have voluntary masking. That means that we don't have a mask mandate. We started out without a mask mandate, and we did contact tracing with parental notification only, and that the parents would keep an eye on for symptoms, and if they spotted symptoms, they'd keep their student home, which worked out well. Governor Holcomb later on put an executive order out that said that if you want to continue doing that, you have to be a mask mandated school. So if we mandate mask, and I'll say to the board, if you want to do away with 14-day quarantine, we can mandate masks in the school for students and staff, and then if we do that, then we can do contact tracing with parental notification and watching out for symptoms. The board, my recommendation, decided that we would we would continue with doing a non-mask mandate. Along with that came that with contact tracing and with anybody that was in direct contact with a COVID positive case, that student or staff member would have a 14-day quarantine. Now, there were some additional procedures that went along with that. If someone had the vaccine, if someone during that quarantine time were to have a test and that test come out to be negative, they could come back before the 14 days, but during that time they would have to agree to do additional procedures. We did not adopt additional procedures, which was the board's right to do that. Those procedures were to wear a mask. That student or staff, a student, let's just focus on that. If a student, in the case we have we have a student who tested positive, negative, which is great for the family. Got to be a relief. For that student to come back, they would have to wear a mask full time. He or she would have to keep a 6-foot social distance from everybody in the building, would have to be monitored for symptoms, and would have to eat lunch by themselves. The issue with that, and the reason that's not adopted as part of our policy, is because we don't have the staffing and we don't have the physical, geographical building layouts to do that. So we can't have staff watching the individual student eating lunch by themselves somewhere in the building. It's just physically impossible for us to do those procedures. So we did not adopt additional procedures. And that's why we don't have that, which is our right to do that. That said, I think it does bring light to the COVID procedures. Things change weekly with COVID. And we are going to relook at our COVID policy. I'm going to reach out to Whitley County Health Department and Kosciuszko County Health Department, which is a challenge. We have 2 counties here that we have to try and bring together, and they have opposite schools of thought on this, which is even more challenging, but we try and find that happy medium ground with that. So that being said, we are going to look diligently at that policy. I'm going to reach out to the health professionals in the county and the state and look at all the updates that there are, even though the governor's mandates are, some are expired. There also are new short mandates that roll them forward and keep them going. So the board, I'll let you know that I will look into that for updates, and I will have some recommendations for you at our December board meeting, if that's okay.
Our next regular board meeting is Monday, December 13, 2021, here at the Whitko Career Academy in our lecture room at 6:30. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second? It's been,
I just want to say, I'm sorry, I should have said this, and I just thought about this. I want the community to hear it. First of all, I want to thank the board for your approval of the bond issue and helping to give our students the facilities and the community the facilities that they so much deserve. And I want to thank you guys for being proactive and your proactive thinking on that and allowing this bond issue now to go forward and do what's best for our students and begin the process of upgrading our buildings. I also want to thank the board for your very generous contract on behalf of the teachers and the non-certified staff wage scales that were approved tonight. There was a lot of discrepancy in the salaries for teachers and a lot of discrepancy and unfair discrepancy in non-certified. We had some non-certified staff that had been here for 2 years. They were making $4 or $5, $6 more an hour than non-certified staff in the same job that had been here for 20 years. And we had our middle-level teachers that were making a whole lot less than other teachers than they should have been making in that. And we had great negotiations. Bill Patrick was on that. Bill, thank you for your input on that and your help with that. Our business manager back here, Lynn Leniger. Lynn, thank you for that. But again, I want to thank the board for your generosity and for doing what's right tonight for our students and for all of our staff, certified and non-certified. I will now turn off my mic, Madam President.
Your teachers are important. Thank you. Our teachers and staff are important, and we want to keep them, so we hope this will help that. Thank you, teachers. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Seconded.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.